Hey, all right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the sincere apostles and elders of a great millstone who are my teachers. And peace and salutations to you brothers out there preaching this word in truth and sincerity. This is the brother Yahweh Sap with another lesson. This one's going to be another quick hit, man, just going into some things that are happening in the world. All right, and to encourage you brothers and your sisters to remain vigilant. All right, because a psyop is being ran on the American people and really the whole world, man. The whole world of psyop is being ran, but especially here in America, man. And so you want to be on your guard. All right, you want to stay upon your watch. All right, you want to make sure that you're reading. All right, that you're praying, you're fasting. All right, and that overall you're remaining in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, because hey, things are about to get real hot real quick. All right. And we've been seeing that things have been heating up for a while now, but it's only getting hotter. Okay. And so I have here in ChatGPT psyop explained in layman's terms, for you brothers and your sisters who might not know what it is. And pretty much it says, all right, here's psyop in the layman's terms. A psyop, or psychological operation, is when someone in power tries to mess with people's minds to control what they think, believe, or do. Instead of fighting with guns, they fight with information, lies, rumors, or propaganda. The goal is to trick, confuse, or influence people so that they act the way the planners want. And so pretty much they are wanting the American people to start a civil war. All right, they want them to have race wars. All right, they want a reason to crack down upon you people. All right, especially you so-called Negroes, Latinos, the North American Indians, you true biblical Israelites, and moreover, the ones who know that they're Israelites and are out there preaching, man, because they see that prophecy is being solidified. All right, and so they're gonna do what they can to forward their NWO, man, and to cause it to happen quicker, right? And so this psyop is being ran, and you see it happening with this Charlie Kirk guy, and with the stabbing of this Edomite woman, which it's coming out that it seems to be fake, and so we have to remain vigilant, man. And so that's what I want to go ahead and start off with in the book of First Peter chapter 5. And I pray that this lesson is edifying and uplifting of the spirit, but this is the book of First Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. And it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. And so that's right. So our adversary the devil is walking around seeking whom he may be able to devour. All right. And the ones he is going to get are going to be the ones that are not paying attention, the ones who are not remaining vigilant, man. All right. The ones who are just in la la land. Right. And these things are happening, and people, they're playing right according to their hand. All right. And Esau is playing right according to prophecy. He don't even know it. But we know it. All right. Let me grab this in the book of First Thessalonians real quick. I believe it's chapter 5, if I'm not mistaken. And so this is this is the book of First Thessalonians chapter 5, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, but of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of Yahweh so cometh as a thief in the night. And that's right, a thief in the night, someone that you're a person that you would not be expecting, right? And so it says, verse 3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. So travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And right now you're having these peace and safeties going out. Trump is sending the National Guard. He's sending them to Chicago. All right, I believe he also talked about sending them to Missouri and about 17 other cities. All right, and it's only going to get worse, especially with this Charlie Kirk shooting. All right, and this stabbing of it was a Ukrainian Edomite woman, and they're gonna be blaming it on you, Drake, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and North American Indians. All right. And so it says, verse 4, but ye, brethren, are not in the darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. And that's right. So we can identify that these things are psychological operations based off of how it's being played out. All right. How the tune of prophecy is being played. Right. All right. We're able to see that these things, there's a hidden agenda behind it. All right. Excuse me. And so it says, continuing in verse 6, therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. And that's right. And I want to go ahead and grab that word sober in the etymology. Okay. That word sober means, let me see if there's a verb. Here it is. Let me see. Free. It says late 14c. So brand, comfort, console, reduce to a quiet condition. The sense of free from intoxication is by 1706 the extended sense of bring back to reality. And so that's right. So we're brought back to reality. We're no longer drunk off of Esau's wine that he was given to the whole earth. All right. We see the things and how they are based off of the scriptures, man. All right, we can line it up with the scriptures and know what's what. All right, if we watch the videos, all right, we do these videos. We're out in the highways and hedges. We're praying. We're reading. All right, we're doing the things that are keeping us in the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, and that's what we are. We're taking on the whole armor of the Heavenly Father, which I want to go ahead and jump to next. All right, and I got a couple of videos I want to play as well, but you know, I want to grab these first. So this is the book of Ephesians chapter 6, and I'm gonna start at verse 10. It says, finally, my brethren, be strong in Yahweh and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand the wiles of the devil. And when you get that word wiles, which we're gonna go ahead and grab, all right, real quick, bear with me. That word wiles in the Greek is methodia, meaning cunning arts, deceit, craft, trickery. There you go. So we're not tricked by this devil and what he's doing. All right. Why? Because we have the whole armor of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai upon us. Okay. And so it says, verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And so we're not wrestling against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. All right. They're doing seances. All right. They're committing witchcraft behind closed doors, sacrificing babies. All right. They're sacrificing people right before your eyes. All right. All these things are happening. All right, because they want this word, first and foremost, to stop going out. And second, they want to implement their NWO, which is going to consist of that RFID chip. All right, the MOTB spoken about in Revelation 13. Okay, so hey, we have to keep our eyes peeled and keep on our guard, man. Now is not the time to get relaxed. Now is not the time, all right, to slow down and to slow up. You know, now is the time to go even harder, because Esau is going harder. The devil, Satan, is going harder as well. So we have to make sure that we're polishing up our armor, all right, and that we're cleansing our ways before the Heavenly Father. All right, that overall we're remaining in the spirit. We're taking on the whole armor of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. All right, and so I want to go ahead and jump into these videos real quick, man. All right, because if you didn't know, with that Charlie Kirk guy being killed, everyone, including the president, responded. You know, and it was a quick response. As soon as he got shot, everyone within the hour was responding. There was a few books that ended up being published. All right, and we're gonna get into this, but for my first article, I want to grab. It says, Trump says we have to beat the hell out of radical left lunatics after Kirk killing. So best believe a civil war is coming. It's a matter of fact, it's already here. Okay. And so it says President Donald Trump on Thursday told reporters that we just have to beat the hell out of radical left lunatics following the killing of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk. It says the president, speaking on the South Lawn of the White House as he was heading to New York City, was responding to a reporter who asked what the president's message was to conservatives who feel targeted by radical groups. Trump, who also had some more measured comments about Kirk's killing during the roughly 10-minute exchange with reporters, said, we have to be brave in life. In all fairness, we have a life. I probably shouldn't be out here talking to you in all fairness, but we will be brave. And we have a great country. We have radical left lunatics out there, and we just have to beat the hell out of them. The president added in a separate answer that he would urge his supporters to follow a nonviolent path in response to the shooting. He, Kirk, was an advocate of nonviolence. Trump said, that's the way I'd like to see people respond. All right, but the way that they're portraying things, talking about beating the hell out of them, that's sending, let me grab real quick. Let me grab this in the book of Psalms, chapter 55. All right. The book of Psalms, chapter 55, and verse 20. Or I'm gonna get right to the point in verse 21. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So, hey, he has some smooth, buttery words, but guess what? War is in his heart. All right, that's why he changed the Department of Defense back into the Department of War. Why? Because he's gearing up for war and all across the globe. Okay, and so it says, continuing it, Kirk in the past argued that his message was one of nonviolence and that Antifa and far-left activists have forced him to cancel speaking events at college campuses. Trump's comments come one day after the 31-year-old Kirk was killed in an attack at a college campus event in Orem, Utah that stunned the nation. Authorities haven't captured the shooter, and a motive for Kirk's slaying remains unknown. And they did. This is a little late, but they caught him, I believe, today, if I'm not mistaken. All right, and so pretty much they want war. All right, and so it says, in the wake of shooting, Trump recorded an address from the Oval Office, which we're gonna go ahead and play. All right, and it says, and distributed on social media, where he praised Kirk and also blamed the radical left for his death. He said that the radical left compared Kirk to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals, and blamed vitriolic rhetoric for the killing and of the conservative activists. It says this type of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, the president said in the 3-minute video. And so there you go, man. They're calling them terrorists. All right, they're calling them radical lefts. All right, they're calling them mass murderers, criminals. All right, they're calling them all types of words that is pointing to war. All right, and these Edomites, man, on I believe it's the right side, they are angry, man. All right, you had them chanting, "White man fight back." All right, all manner of crazy things that are taking place because of this killing of this guy Charlie Kirk, and this is all psyop, as we're about to get into. So I got this video that I want to play for you from Trump, real quick, and then I got another video, and then one more.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and three others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed because together we will ensure.
And that's pretty much it, man. You hear him coming out about this, and keep in mind, Charlie Kirk, he was just a normal civilian, and people are pointing out, that he didn't even do this. He doesn't do this for their military, you know. And I just remembered another article I had saved. Um, where is it at? Right here. It says chaos erupts on House floor over Charlie Kirk shooting. It says a moment of silence on the House floor over the shooting death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk gave way to a shouting match Wednesday between Republicans and Democrats. The commotion began when Rep. Lauren Boebert rose following the moment of silence to ask that the House also say a prayer for Kirk, according to multiple lawmakers who were on the floor during the incident. It says Democrats then shouted, "What about the kids in Colorado?" Because if you didn't know, there was a shooting in Colorado, all right, which it says referring to a school shooting in Colorado that also occurred Wednesday afternoon. Boebert responded that she was about to reference that tragedy before she was interrupted. Rep. Anna Paulina Luna, who worked as Kirk's director of Hispanic engagement at Turning Point USA, then stood up and yelled at Democrats, "You caused this." That prompted a ruckus Democratic response, with Rep. Johanna Hayes, a leader on the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force, shouting, "Pass some gun laws." And so the whole country is being divided over this guy's assassination, as well as this that Ukrainian woman's death, right? It says the incident was a reminder that we need to turn the temperature down in this country, Rep. Susie Lee told Axios. Political violence is scary for all of us, and that type of backlash doesn't help things, she said. Rep. Don Mauser told Axios the scene was classless. We had a couple on our side that should have kept their mouth shut. There were many on the Democrat side that needed to show their discontent and rudeness, Mauser said. And so pretty much, man, people, they're pointing out also that, hey, you won't pray for these kids. All right, what about that woman that was just stabbed? What about the troops that go out overseas and fight for the country? Why don't y'all pray for them? So these questions are starting to be asked, and a divide is being drawn, right? And so from here, I want to grab the book of Saint Mark chapter 3. All right, and jumping down to verse 23, and he says, and it reads, "And he called them unto him," talking about Yahushua, "and said unto them in a parable, How can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end." And so that's right, man. We're at the end of Esau, Edom's kingdom. That divide in the sand is being drawn. All right, and it's only getting worse, man. People are actually upset about these things that are taking place, right? And so from here, I actually want to grab this right here.
I tried every type
I'm
of
gonna have to
PD
restart it.
medication.
Salakia
I was
for
excited by the
for
combination
ad.
of ingredients.
All This is
All right,
Dabu
listen to
7.
this.
We've got some explosive details here to go over in terms of the Charlie Kirk shooting. And it seems people out there had foreknowledge, as you're about to see. On the left is a screenshot from a video that was posted 6 days before the shooting by the character that you see on the screen. And in it, they are citing that the Charlie Kirk account, official account, posted that they were sad to announce that Charlie had passed away. He was found inside of his Florida home. That's what this said. So it was calling out his death in a different manner, though, 6 days earlier. And it's said to have come from the official account. But when you go back and look, it's not there on his official account. Regardless, this post was made, this comment, everything was put out in a video, and it did happen. We also have all the talk of these books being published on the day that he was shot. All these books getting kicked out, which no one had time to think of, to type up, to gather all the information, and to even put this stuff out. Now, what's pretty crazy here is Amazon has put out a statement connected to this whole thing, saying that they have removed this book and that there's an investigation on this book in question. They say that they have a content guidelines set in place for all books that can be listed. They remove books that do not adhere to these guidelines. They say the title in question is no longer available for sale. Due to a technical issue, the date of the publication that had been displayed for this title, while it was briefly listed, was incorrect, and we apologize for any confusion that this may have caused. The title was published in the afternoon on September 10th. That's what they try to say here, and all these places are trying to say the same thing, and it's not just one, it's many different places, many different books. You can see a different one here. And you can see the date here, September 10th, is the publishing date. The Legacy of Charlie Kirk. All these books getting kicked out. How? A ton of people asking the question, how? How is this even possible? Let's also throw in that Jezebel, their official account, said that we paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk. And this was on the 8th. You can see the timestamp on it right there. Articles that were posted with the breaking news showing 13 hours ago, right when all this broke loose. Warnings that were put out by Charlie himself that if anything happened to him, it would be a certain entity or a certain someone that would be behind it. And he made this loud and clear. Kash Patel announcing today that this whole thing was solved in under 30 some hours, 33 hours to be exact, leaving their signature. And wouldn't you know, thanks to the numerology, we can see that from the day Trump stepped in office to this date, September 10th, it was 33 weeks, 3 days with a reduction of 33. And then when you go from September 11th to October 14th, which was Charlie Kirk's birthday, it was 33. It's all there. And who is this goon Omar, who suspiciously removed the post and then the account no longer exists? This character that you see right here dropped this, that Charlie is coming to my college tomorrow and he hopes someone evaporates him. And goes on to say, let's just say that something big will happen tomorrow. He knew in advance. And now it's all gone. Thankfully, I got screenshots. So what in the world is going on with all these anomalies surrounding this? Well, I think you know.
Yeah, you do know. It's a psyop being ran, man. You know, so I got one more video, man, and then we'll go ahead and
all right,
off.
everybody. Class is in session. I don't know why you want to believe this is real, but here we go. So the guy's gonna get up. He opens it, looks like a nail file, but right? Yes, he makes it look a little physical. Throws the hat off. Now all the stabbing or whatever was up here, right? So I don't see.
Which, keep in mind, they said she was stabbed I think 7 or 8 times, if I'm not mistaken, and he only stabbed her right there in that video, maybe three or four times.
All here on the seat, but right? So I don't see one drop of blood, nothing. I see some blood on like from probably a packet he opened up. But look, when she gets up, there should be blood all here on the seat, but no, right there where she was sitting. Did he stab her down there? Was it that time of the month? It makes no sense. And look, she's strong enough to have her hand up here, which is amazing. Look, she's gripping onto the thing. Okay, so let's go to part 2. Let's open this up. Now watch how fake this is. Watch. She's falling down. She's falling. There's that blood again, right? Now look, her hand is still up there. Now she's going to reach for something here. Look, she's reaching for something. Look. And then her hand, oh, and then she squirts whatever the fuck that was. Blood doesn't work that way, right? Why did it stop squirting? Because it was in a packet. Guys, this is so fucking easy. Up. Now watch how fake this is. Watch. She's falling down. She's falling. There's that blood again, right? Now look, her hand is still up there. Now she's going to reach for something here. Look, she's reaching for something. Look. And then her hand, oh, and then she squirts whatever the fuck that was. Blood doesn't work that way, right? Why did it stop squirting? Because it was in a packet. Guys, this is so fucking easy. And then the guy comes here with a cowboy hat on. I hope I didn't miss him already. There it is. Pentagram. There's your pentagram. Devil worship. Right, what happened to all that? Look, the blood exploded out and it just stood there still. Where's all the blood? How did she have the power to reach for whatever that was up there? I wish I could go back. I can't go back, but you'll see it. Okay? Guys, for those of you that want to believe it, Benny Holders.
And there you have it, man. And when someone gets stabbed in the neck, if you've seen the shooting of Charlie Kirk, as soon as he got shot, the neck, his neck started pouring out blood. How come that didn't happen to her? You know, she wasn't holding her neck. She was just, it looked like she was just had her hand on her mouth, you know, and she was just there. What's it called? Just holding her mouth. How come she wasn't holding her neck? Why didn't she get up and seek help? There's too many holes in these stories, you know, and people will believe them because there's this thing called collective stupidity, where people, they, instead of questioning things, they just see it and they agree with it, right? You know, if there's more than 2 or 3 people that agree with it, they're immediately going to agree with it, man. So that's why it's important that you brothers and your sisters remain vigilant, right? As pertaining to 1 Peter 5 and verse 8. And we'll go ahead and end it off here, man, because this is why you have to remain in the spirit of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, because devil is working, man. Satan is working. All right, and if you're not paying attention, he's going to get you. All right, so this is the book of Sirach, otherwise known as the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 50 and verse 28. It says, "Blessed is he that shall be exercised in these things, and he that layeth them up in his heart shall become wise. For if he do them, he shall be strong to all things. For the light of Yahweh leadeth him, who giveth wisdom to the godly. Blessed be the name of Yahweh forever. Amen, amen." And so that's right, man. So, hey, do these things, exercise yourselves in the words and in the spirit of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, because if you do, you'll be strong to all things. And these things that Esau is putting upon the people won't overtake you. All right, and so with that being said, I pray that this lesson was edifying, a lifting of the spirit. Once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. Call Elohim, La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. Hey, stay vigilant, stay sober.